Okay, so as Ari mentioned, my name is Myrna Tamal. I am a research scientist and a holistic nutritionist and also a health and wellness life coach. I've been working in science for over 25 years. I currently manage a biochemistry lab in a major cancer hospital in New York City. And I also have my own holistic nutrition practice. I did my master's in complementary alternative medicine and holistic nutrition because I wanted to have a more integrative approach to health through my own personal experience and that of family members. So I wanted to focus more on integrating science and nature. So following the basic principles of natural healing, first do no harm, harness the healing power of nature, identify the root causes of ailments, treat the person as a whole, to educate, and also to discuss prevention. So just a recap of our first webinar from last week. Last week, we discussed the facts, safety, and resources of COVID-19. And just a brief summary. So COVID-19 is the disease caused by the SARS-CoV-2 virus, which is a part of a family of coronavirus, which are zoonotic, meaning they spread across species. Now, Corona-19 is the disease that is caused by this virus, and it spreads from person to person, is very infectious. Currently, there's no cure or vaccine, and we discussed practicing social distancing, wearing a mask, why is it important, and flattening the curve, and information about who is infected as well. You could watch the replay at the link provided below to get the full details of this webinar. So just a disclaimer as we get started. Now, information provided here is for educational purpose mainly. It's not intended to diagnose, treat, or cure any medical condition. For specific medical advice, you need to contact your healthcare provider. And I wanted to make a note. Currently, there are no miracle foods, vitamins, or supplements that could treat, prevent, or cure COVID-19. The purpose of this presentation is to discuss how your body works naturally and what nutrients are essential for maintaining your optimal health and well-being. We're going to focus on the immune system and the foods to eat. So what is the immune system and how does it work in your body? The immune system is a very complicated system in the body and involves very different and several systems that work together. So the main purpose is to protect against pathogens and antigens, which are basically bacteria, viruses, or parasites. And it's made up of several different specialized cells and organs. We see here in the throat, you have your lymph nodes. That's the beginning. And then you have white blood cells as well. Part of it is the spleen, your respiratory system, which have hair-like projections. This is also in your intestine and the skin. So I wanted to get into a little bit of immunology of how the immune system works. And basically, as I mentioned, there are two forms of defense. So there's external, which is your skin, the mucous membrane, or the nasal hair. And internal, there's immune cells. So with these immune cells, you have something called innate immunity, which is your first line of defense. So you have basically the four main types of immune cells. There are many different others, but just for simplicity, we'll focus on this. So your first line, if you get an infection, acute, you'll have inflammation. Your body will respond by phagocytes, so natural killer cells will attack and destroy the pathogen. Now, today what we're going to focus on is the adaptive immunity, which is your second line of defense, which is mainly like your T cells, which are like mini soldiers that get information, and then they develop, they talk to the B cells as well, and then they develop what we call antibodies or adaptive immunity. So with the immune system, we are immune compromised. So what does this mean? So this basically means that you have a weakened or impaired immune system. And some of the causes of it can be lack of sleep, poor diet, smoking, stress, having a sedentary lifestyle, inflammation, drugs, and age can also be a factor. And again, what are some of the symptoms of being immune compromised? You will have frequent colds, flus, fevers, chronic fatigue, seasonal allergies, poor recovery after you're working out. You know, you might have trouble waking up, high blood sugar, food sensitivities, or chronic skin conditions as well. So what we would like to have is a immune resilience. So what does this mean? This means having your body have the ability to defend against pathogens and adapt and recover or kill or neutralize foreign objects, and also being able to adapt to environmental changes. So in terms of adaptation, we've discussed talking about adaptive immunity. So what is adaptive immunity? As I mentioned previously, adaptive immunity involves certain types of cells in your immune system. Here is a nice cartoon that demonstrates you have what are known as macrophages, which sees a germ or virus in this case, and then it talks to two types of T cells, say, hey, there's a germ in the body, we need to plan a defense. So cytotoxic T cells immediately kills off the germ if it can. It doesn't always. The other one is the T cell helper cells, which also talk to your B cells, and your B cells are responsible for producing antibodies. Once you produce antibodies, the antibodies recognize the virus, and then it basically destroys the virus. So in discussing adaptive immunity, this leads to vaccine. As we all know, COVID-19 is a virus, and there's a lot of research being done in this, trying to develop a vaccine. So I wanted to just touch base on how vaccines work. So the way vaccines work is part of the adaptive immunity response of the body that I just mentioned. So you get a part of the virus, or a weakened or a dead version of the virus, and that is injected into your body. And that allows your body to create antibodies against the virus. And then the antibodies will either kill or suppress the disease. Now with COVID-19, in terms of making a vaccine, it's a long procedure because you first need to understand the mechanism of how the virus works and how it behaves in the body and how it attacks the body. So this takes a long time. Now I wanted to touch base on something called herd immunity. And I'm discussing this because we are all in isolation and we have to practice social distancing and follow protocol. So this diagram here demonstrates why this is important and how immunity will work because of social distancing. So herd immunity is basically when 70 to 90% of the population becomes immune against a pathogen. So if you just follow these little red people here. So right now, when this started, there was a few infections. 2 people here, and no one was immune, and then it spread to multiple people. And the way COVID-19 spreads is very fast. As you could recall, or you could review in my last presentation, it infects basically from 1 to 5 people or more. So it's a very infectious virus. So this is the beginning of the COVID-19, where we see that rapid increase of cases. Now, what we have here, we're starting to see, if you flattening the curve by not giving it hosts, which is the blue people, you still have infection, but you still have less. What we want to achieve is like if you have a few infections and you spread it across the population, then this is, you know, about 70 and 90% of the population become immune. So this is herd immunity. And this can happen once there's a vaccine developed. And as I mentioned last week, if you do not give the virus a host, then it will slow down and not have any people to infect. So this is just to reiterate why social distancing is important. So speaking of COVID-19 and the immune system, as I mentioned, the immune system consists of very different parts of the body that work together to protect you against pathogens. So the way COVID-19 works in your immune system, it basically attacks your respiratory system, and that's those that develop symptoms or signs, you will have these symptoms of coughing, sneezing, shortness of breath, dry cough, and then it will attack your circulatory system, your digestive system, and your kidney excretion system. And system-wide, it will be fever and fatigue. So here are some of the examples of how COVID-19 affects your body. In the mild cases I mentioned, you know, low-grade fever, dry cough, it starts out, and then in more severe cases, you have what we see is like trouble breathing, low blood oxygen, and inflammation. And then in very critical cases, the immune response to the virus, you have organ failure due to lack of oxygen, inflammation, or you go into septic shock. So what exactly does COVID-19 do to your immune system? Now this slide is a bit technical, but I will go through it slowly. As I mentioned previously, the immune system has several different defense cells that are responsible for protecting you. As a germ comes into your body, what happens here, the normal process, the macrophages, as I mentioned before, identify it as a foreign object. It signals to the B and T cells, which you'll get an inflammatory reaction, and they will create antibodies or defense mechanism to destroy the COVID cells. So what happens with COVID-19, this normal process becomes overloaded and heightened, and it's called what we call a cytokine storm. So cytokines are molecules in your immune system that become activated as a defense mechanism. The problem with COVID-19, you have overactivation of these molecules, and then as you can see here, the system is out of whack, so your body overproduces these chemicals or compounds, and then it actually starts to attack your own cells. So basically it goes into hyperdrive, and it's like, okay, we have a foreign object and it doesn't recognize the normal cells from the disease cells or the virus. So you have what is called a cytokine storm. It starts to attack everything. And then you have severe problems with respiratory or different organ failures. So as I mentioned before, part of the immune response is inflammation. This is a normal response in which your body activates its defense mechanism. So when a foreign object comes into your body, it triggers a series of events that tells your body, hey, I need to heal and repair some damaged tissue. So in an acute inflammation, such as spraining your ankle, you'll get a response and it will go away. But the problem that occurs is with a lot of underlying diseases and conditions is a chronic inflammation. So then you start to have autoimmunity, as I mentioned, what happens with the cytokine storm with COVID-19. And as you can see here, acute will be like an allergic reaction, a burn, you have a sprain, but chronic inflammation, over a long period of time, you develop chronic illnesses like cardiovascular disease, autoimmune disease, cancer, chronic fatigue, and so on and so forth. And this diagram over here, as you can see, as the body becomes inflamed, you have an increase of these certain underlying conditions like obesity, diabetes, metabolic syndrome, Alzheimer's, joint pain, cardiovascular disease as well. So today, I just gave a brief overview of the immune system and how it works. And we want to discuss how can we support your immune system. So there are several ways to promote immunity and boost your immune system. Maintaining a balanced diet, washing your hands, getting plenty of rest, exercising, and staying hydrated. Today we're going to focus on diet and health over here. So as I mentioned, so nutrients, your body needs nutrients. So nutrients consist of many different things. You have carbohydrates, lipid, proteins. So we're going to focus on vitamins and minerals today that support your immune system. But just a brief overview, as you can see, carbohydrates and macronutrients, protein help build tissue and organs, also for your immune system as well. The healthy fats as well help with your hormone regulation and digestion and absorbing nutrients. But as I said, we're going to focus on some key vitamins and minerals that are relevant to support your immune system. So vitamins and minerals. So vitamins are basically macronutrients, and they cannot be made by your body, so you have to obtain them from food or supplements. So basically there are two classes of vitamins. There's ones that are fat soluble and water soluble. Fat soluble vitamins dissolve in oils and fats, which this is vitamin A, D, E, and K. We're going to focus a lot on those today, and some of the other ones are B and C. We're not going to focus so much on B today. We're going to focus a lot on C. And as I mentioned, fat soluble vitamins can be stored in the body, whereas the water ones can't, which is basically C. So vitamin A. Vitamin A is a major vitamin and nutrient responsible for many different things in your body. As I highlighted here, it involves in producing white blood cells and supporting the immune system and the mucous membranes. This is important. Now, if you're infected with a virus such as COVID-19, you need a source of vitamin or nutrient that will help support your body's natural functions. So here, vitamin A, it helps specifically in supporting the T cells in your body and helping them protect you against infection. So you can get vitamin A from several different sources. The main ones are listed here. The top foods are the dark pigment foods and the bright color foods like sweet potatoes, carrots, red bell peppers, grapefruits as well. Now we could discuss vitamin C. I know there's been a lot of talk or some talk in the news, the media, and the research community about vitamin C. Vitamin C is basically a very potent vitamin, and the recommended daily allowance of vitamin C is about 900 micrograms to 700 micrograms for men and women. It was one of the first vitamins discovered, and it's important not to have too much of it. So with the COVID-19, there has been some studies being done doing IV treatments or high doses, which are over like 3 grams of vitamin C. Now, keep in mind your body uses this vitamin and cannot reproduce it. So the main function of vitamin C is to boost your immunity by helping your white blood cells and strengthening your skin and helping your body heal faster. It's also important for absorbing iron, which is needed by your red blood cells, which, as you may know, your red blood cells has hemoglobin, which helps with oxygen distribution throughout your body. And moving on. Now, vitamin D is a very essential vitamin. A lot of people are vitamin D deficient. And one of the most important role of vitamin D is to modulate your cell growth and, again, reduce inflammation. I mean, it can be obtained from 30 minutes of sun exposure a day. I know a lot of us are in the house. We can't get out and get sun, so it's important, if you can, to supplement with a high quality source of vitamin D, but you can get it from these sources like salmon, eggs, oysters, mushrooms, tuna, shrimp, soy milk as well. And vitamin D is important, again, for your lung function. As we are talking about COVID-19, as we all know, it does affect your lung first. Another important vitamin for your immune system is vitamin E. Now, vitamin E is not talked about that often, but there are several different forms of it. And the main function of this is works as an antioxidant. And I will talk more about antioxidant in a couple of slides in a few minutes. But vitamin D helps your cells fight off infection. And the main sources of vitamin E are almonds, so nuts, avocado, spinach, kiwi, olive, shrimp as well. Another vitamin that we don't hear a lot about, but which is also important for your immune function, is vitamin K. So there are several types of vitamin K. Vitamin K is there's K1, K2, and a synthetic form known as K3. Vitamin K2 works in synergy with vitamin D, and it helps with absorption of vitamin D as well, and the overall function. But again, vitamin K works with the immune system by supporting your T cells, as I mentioned in the beginning of the talk. And it also helps with reducing some chronic disease by reducing inflammation. And as you can see here, vitamin K is mostly found in all of the green leafy vegetables like kale, broccoli, cabbage, asparagus, and peas as well. Now, the recommended daily allowance for vitamin K is about 15 milligrams daily. Now, that is basically an overview of the vitamins. And so, as I said, I talked about A, C, D, E, and K. Next week, we'll focus more on B, because B is responsible for a lot of cellular activities, and as well as stress management. So we're going to discuss in minerals. As I mentioned before, your body needs minerals as well to function. And there are different types of minerals. There are micro minerals and trace minerals. Micro minerals are basically the large, the ones that you need the most: calcium, phosphorus, magnesium, sodium as well. Now, the trace minerals I'm going to focus on today are three, but I'm going to talk about zinc and selenium, because they also help support your immunity. So one of the minerals that is not commonly known is N-acetyl cysteine. So cysteine is amino acid, but basically what it does in the body, it helps reduce symptoms of respiratory condition, and it works by loosening up the mucus in your airways when you have a cold or your cough. And as an antioxidant, it supports glutathione, which is one of the major antioxidants in your body. Now, the sources of cysteine can be found in meats So it's good to get organic or grass-fed meat. So pork, beef, chicken, tuna, some beans as well, sunflowers, and eggs. Now, another mineral that is important for your immune system is selenium. So selenium, has to be obtained through food. And again, it is a powerful antioxidant, and it helps fight oxidative stress, and it helps reduce your risk for viral infections, allergies, and also autoimmune. It's also important for liver detoxification. So some of the top sources will be like Brazilian nuts, sardines, spinach, sunflower, some of the meats as well, and certain types of fish. Now, zinc is another mineral in your body, which is important for your immune system. And there's a lot of research being done with zinc, as zinc being used in collaboration with the antiviral drugs, hydrochloroquine or chloroquine. Now, zinc is responsible for enhancing your immune system, stabilizing your blood sugar and your heart, and it helps with wound healing. So there are some studies being done with zinc, and as I mentioned before, vitamin C in collaboration with other antiviral drugs. So I mentioned a lot about antioxidants. So basically, what are antioxidants and why are they important? The easiest way to see antioxidants is that there are substances in your body, as you can see in this little cartoon, this little green lady here. So what their function is to remove unstable molecules in your body. So you have unstable molecules which cause oxidative stress, which actually damages your cells. So antioxidants are important for overall health and of your cells in your body. So a lot of plant-based antioxidants are found in phytonutrients, which are chemicals in plants, and they also help with reducing stress and stabilizing your system. And some of the active components are listed here. As you can see, carrot has beta carotene, black grapes have resveratrol, glutathione is in broccoli. So these are the active components that's found in these fruits and vegetables, which are important for your overall health. So in terms of diet, what is the best diet, or what is an effective diet that will help when you need to support your immune system? So as I mentioned, your immune system triggers inflammation. Inflammation is natural in the short term, acute inflammation, but in the chronic inflammation, it can lead to disease. So what you eat is very important. So eating an anti-inflammatory diet is very helpful in maintaining and supporting your overall health and immune system. And this pyramid here shows that you should have more of vegetables and fruits, and then you have some grains and whole wheat pasta, and you can have some beans and legumes and fish and healthy fats, which are can be found in walnuts and avocados or coconut oil, olive oil or flaxseed, and then certain types of fish and soy products and mushrooms as well, and teas and other supplements and herbs. I'm not going to go in too much on herbs and supplements today because that is a whole nother talk. But just to keep in mind, eat lots of fruits and vegetables, grains, follow this basic platform to help reduce inflammation. Some of the foods that you need to avoid to reduce your risk for chronic inflammation is like sugary beverages, soda, juices, refined carbs, white bread, pasta, anything that's processed, cookies and candies, ice creams. Processed meats are not good, hot dogs and snacks. There are healthier options, and certain oils which are not good for you are like vegetable oils or corn oils and certain types of fat. And if you do drink, you drink sparingly, reduce alcohol consumption. So another thing I want to mention is your gut. Your gut health is extremely important for your immune system. Your gut has what we call the microbiome. There are over 40 trillion bacteria in your body, and most of them are in your intestine. This is your microbiota. Now, there's bad bacteria in your gut, which can increase your risk for certain diseases. And when you eat certain foods, processed foods or bad foods, you feed the bad bacteria. So what you need to do is support the good bacteria in your digestion tract, because your intestine holds at least 70% of those cells that I mentioned previously that are part of your immune system. And the key role of a good gut health, it helps you with absorbing the nutrients and producing digestive enzymes, which we could discuss in a later talk, and also helping with synthesizing and processing the vitamins that I mentioned earlier. So your immune system, as you recall, starts in several different organs, but it starts in your mouth and it works its way down to your intestine. And 90% of your immune system is in your gut. So gut health is extremely important. Now, in terms of supporting your gut health, there are things called prebiotic and probiotic. So probiotic are basically the good bacteria that live in your gut, and they help with, enhancing your immune system, fighting inflammation, proper bowel movement. And prebiotics are basically the food that feeds the good bacteria. So the prebiotic can be found in plant-based foods like asparagus, bananas, garlic, onions, and leeks. And then for probiotics, if you you could take a supplement of probiotics, because we don't get enough to support our gut health, but you can get it from fermented foods like kimchi. Miso soup is good. It's not mentioned here, but kombucha as well. Those are all good sources of probiotic that help support your gut. Now, I just put together a list of foods that will be beneficial since we are in quarantine. And some of these are healthier options that you can get and store for long periods of time. And you could freeze like fruits and vegetables, frozen vegetables. You could get dry beans and lentils, and you could get frozen fruits and berries as well. You could get frozen organic meat and poultry. You could get nuts and honey. You could get dried fruit, but not the ones with sugar added on it. You could get some ancient grains or whole grains like quinoa, amaranth, and spelt. Or you could get pasta, dry pasta. There's whole grain pasta, or there's like chickpea pasta, edamame pasta. Also, seeds and nuts are good. Nut butters, plant protein. You could get nutritional yeast, and coconut oil is one of the oils that can last in storage for a long time. So just to summarize, our immune system is very complex, and I hope I gave you a basic understanding of how it works and how you could help support it by reducing your risk of chronic disease, because the body has an innate ability to heal itself when you provide it with the right nutrients. So things that you should be mindful of to support your immune health, as I mentioned before, you don't smoke, eat a diet with high in fruits and vegetables, try to exercise regularly, maybe 30 minutes, try to maintain a healthy weight, and sleep is also important. We're going to discuss sleep next week and stress management, good hygiene, take vitamins and supplements if you are deficient. As you know, the food we have does not always provide us with enough of the vitamins that we need. There are certain herbs and spices as well, and different teas, and also practicing mindfulness. Now we're pretty much done. Here are some resources. You can reach me if I do provide nutritional counseling at my website, and there's several different packages. If you mention this webinar, you can get a 10% discount as well. And I do accept some insurance. You just need to inquire. And I also have access to professional high quality vitamins and supplements if needed as well. So I just wanted to say thank you guys for attending. Thank Brown's House for help sponsoring these workshops. And next week we're gonna have our third workshop on May 1st, discussing stress management. So thank you. And if anyone have any questions, I could take questions. Are there any questions or comments? So if you have a question, you could put a question in the comment or in the chat box.
Iris would like to know if you can email the slides.
Yes, I can.
All right, and Joanna asked if you can go back to your slide with the links.
Okay, this one?
I'm assuming the resources.
The resource?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. This recording, this webcast is being recorded, so I will send out the link to watch the replay if you haven't, if you want to review, and I can also send out a PDF with the slides. Okay. Okay, if there's no other questions, I just want to say thank you for everyone for attending. If you have any questions, you can reach me via email or phone. I will respond usually in a day. I see Maria has a question. If you eat healthy, do you still need to take vitamins? If you eat healthy, it does help if you take certain vitamins. As I mentioned, your body does need vitamins, and it absorbs it and utilizes it. It cannot store vitamins. So if vitamin D, most people are deficient. Vitamin C are good vitamins to take as well in terms of eating healthy foods. Okay. There's one. I think that was it. Okay, great. So once again, I thank everybody for attending. You could tune in next week at the same time. We'll discuss stress management. Have a good weekend and take care.